the transformations you see here occurred in 90 days or less, and each person used just 3 kettlebells while training 3 days per week to make it happen. And if you just heard that statement and are thinking to yourself, how in the did you manage that? Stick around to the end of this video and I'll share with you a few simple principles that will allow you to transform your body using the kettlebell so you can maximize fat loss with minimal equipment. But first, it's crucial that you understand how body fat is actually lost. One of the most common questions I get is, what exercises should I do to lose belly fat, or how do I get rid of this? And the answer is, we can't actually control where you lose body fat from, because the way we lose body fat is through sweat, through urine, and through CO2. And yes, that last one I mentioned means we actually exhale our fat, which might sound weird, but it's true. So, armed with that knowledge, we can now take a look at this graph. This, my friend, contains the 4 factors that contribute to your overall daily caloric expenditure. And since you need to be in a calorie deficit to lose weight, maximizing each of these 4 categories is crucial to your fat loss success with the kettlebell. But this is where things get weird. An hour of strength training with kettlebells is only going to contribute roughly 5 to 10% of your overall daily caloric expenditure, which isn't So you might be thinking to yourself, how can you claim kettlebells are an effective fat loss tool? And the real secret lies in how kettlebell training impacts this part of your overall caloric expenditure, which is responsible for 60 to 70% of the total number of calories you burn. And this, my friends, is the number of calories you burn at rest, also known as your basal metabolic rate. And the way we improve this is by increasing lean muscle mass with the kettlebell. But how do we do that training 3 days per week? Because that looks a little different than the typical 5-day per week training split. If you look at a typical bodybuilding split, you typically have 1 day dedicated to each muscle group. 1 day for legs, 1 day for chest, 1 day for back, 1 day for shoulders, and 1 day for arms. And on that day, you absolutely crush a single muscle group with lots of volume and give that muscle group an entire week to recover. But the way we do it training 3 days per week with kettlebells is we distribute the volume across multiple muscle groups, meaning less overall sets and reps per muscle group per session. The beauty of this 3-day split, though, is we can train every muscle group multiple times per week and accumulate a high enough number of total sets and reps over the course of the week that by our 3rd workout session, we can still achieve a similar amount of total sets and reps as the typical 5-day split per muscle group, all while avoiding a trust fall to the toilet seat because we don't obliterate any one muscle group in any one session. But what about all that time off? Won't those rest days in between training sessions keep you too inactive to burn the calories necessary to lose weight? To answer that, we need to take a look at our graph again and gain an understanding of the NEAT principle. The NEAT principle stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's a lot of fancy words to describe the number of calories you burn for performing non-exercise activity. This includes walking, yard work, cleaning the house, a game of pickleball, or any other physical activity that doesn't have clearly defined sets, reps, rest periods, intervals, etc. And the funny thing about non-exercise activity is it actually contributes to 10 to 15% of daily caloric expenditure, which is actually more than exercise activity does. And this is the beauty of this 3-day per week training split. It gives you more time for loved ones and the physical hobbies you enjoy outside the gym, so as long as you pick something fun or productive that elevates your heart rate for 20 to 30 minutes, whether it be a nice nature walk, surfing, pickleball, yard work, playing frisbee, or any other physical activity you enjoy on days in between your strength sessions, you will still burn plenty of calories that contribute to your overall fat loss, as long as your activity lasts 20 to 30 minutes. Anyway, even if your kettlebell training is dialed in 3 days per week and your physical activity on non-exercise days is on point, there's still one problem. You need to make sure you're losing the right type of weight. Keep in mind that we can lose weight by losing muscle mass and water volume, not just fat. So if we want to ensure we are losing body fat and not lean muscle mass, we need to eat plenty of protein. And if you're wondering how much, a good general guideline to shoot for is 20 to 30 grams per meal for the ladies and 40 to 60 grams per meal for the men. Just keep in mind that the quantity fluctuates based on factors like age, body weight, activity level. So like I said, this is a good general guideline. But consuming this much protein isn't just good for maintaining lean muscle mass. Let me explain. This last part of the graph here that we haven't discussed is something known as the thermic effect of food, which is the number of calories you burn in the digestive process. We can actually burn more calories digesting protein than any other macronutrient, which is just one more reason protein is a key component to maximizing your results, because up to 10% of your daily caloric expenditure can simply come from the thermic effect of food. And it was the understanding of these basic principles that allowed all of the people in the beginning of this video to drop 15 to 20 pounds in 90 days or less. With that said, if you want to jumpstart your fat loss journey with the kettlebell, I have a little something for you that I think you'll enjoy. We are currently offering our most popular program, the 28-day Kettlebell Kickstart Strength Challenge, at 90% off our normal price. I mean, you can put all of this into action for just $9. That includes 3 kettlebell workouts per week, access to hundreds of video technique demos from our exercise library, exclusive member-only content, and much, much more. So if you want to get a jumpstart on your functional strength and fat loss goals, click the link in the description below to learn more, and I hope to see you in the app soon.